Hello, my dear friends. Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to take you through a brief journey through the murky world of Hadith. And you've all your life believed that what you are taught is sacred, is Islam, is what you base your most sacred practices and actions on. And today I'm going to dig because we have the luxury of the internet and we have the luxury of AI. And we always double check, we don't just take AI for what it says for granted. We go and double check. And indeed, that's what I did. So let us debunk. I'm going to do a practical example of going through a question with you of Hadith using AI, and I'm going to show you how Hadith is actually a complete and utter imposition that obstructs the Qur'an, not explains the Qur'an. It obstructs the Qur'an. We need to dispose of it as a sacred form of knowledge. We need to use it as of historical importance, of literary importance, but as sacred, as legal knowledge, divine legal knowledge. We cannot. It is haram. It is evil. It is wrong to base any of your religious and sacred and divine beliefs on it. Yeah, I'm going to prove it to you. If you stick with me for about 2, 3, 4 minutes, you're going to get into this and you will see what I mean. I'm going to take the case study of dogs. Now, what is a dog? If you're a Muslim, what do you think of a dog? It's immediately you're put off by a dog, right? You don't want a dog to be near you. You don't want a dog to be in your house. You don't want a dog to be anywhere near you or your family. Now we're going to investigate this position, this practice, this attitude, this ingrained, indoctrinated understanding. We're going to investigate it and exploit using the Hadith, but also looking at the Qur'an. Follow with me here. I've asked AI, DeepSeek AI, give me a listing of the prophetic narrations, ahadith, including sources that underpin the scholarly opinions that state that touching a dog is forbidden in Islam, and that allowing a dog in the home is forbidden, and that call for washing a utensil 7 times when a dog licked it. So it's a complex question, right? This is how you actually benefit from AI. You need to make the question. It's the question that makes you get the answer. So what I've done is I've posed that question to AI, and then I've also asked for an assessment of the strength of each of those hadith. Now, we're going to see what AI gives. Remember, AI just gives what is on the internet. So AI will search all the Muslim sites, all the scholarly Islamic views. It will give a mainstream Islamic view. That is what AI will do. So AI is not going to come up with a neutral, new, novel understanding, right? So AI, we must understand, AI will seek the Sunni sites, because the Sunni sites, the Sunni information, the Sunni works make up 80% of the works that are on the internet. So let's see what they come up with. And this is the response. In Islamic jurisprudence, ruling on dogs, such as touching them, keeping them as pets, and purification after contact, are derived from several hadiths. Below is a detailed breakdown of the key narrations, their sources, chains of transmission, and scholarly assessment of the authenticity. Let's go into them. The first ruling, hadith on touching dogs and impurity. Let's see. Narration. If a dog drinks from the vessel of any of you, let him wash it 7 times, the first time with dirt. That is Sahih Muslim, Hadith 279, from Abu Huraira. Also in Sahih Bukhari, that same narration or narrative that was around And remember, Muslim was a student of Bukhari. Do remember that. So it is authentically linked to Abu Huraira. Majority of the scholars consider dogs ritually impure. Majority of the scholars, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, consider dogs ritually impure based on this. Now here you've got to think for yourself now. The whole thing about dogs being ritually impure goes back to one man only. Abu Huraira, the cat guy. His name is the cat guy. Abu Huraira means the cat guy. The cat guy, hated dogs. Of course he hated dogs. And dogs were declared ritually impure by the cat guy. Only one Sahabi, only one man. So this whole belief system of Muslims, this whole belief system is based on the Abu Huraira opinion. Yes, so the scholars, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, three of them, they link back to Abu Huraira. They believe that story. But what about the Hanbali? What about the Hanabila? Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali. Hanbali, Shafi'i, Maliki. What about the Hanifites, the Hanafis? What about the Hanafis? You don't see Hanafis here. Look at it. Majority of the scholars, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali. But remember, Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanbali only make up 20% of the Muslim world. Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali make up only 20% of the world. So the mazhab that is that most of the Muslims follow, the Hanafi mazhab, 80% of the Muslim world, 80% of the Muslim world, do not believe in that hadith of Abu Huraira. So on the first count, we have to find the hadith or the belief unfounded. Unfounded. Hadith on touching dogs and impurity. Unfounded. That's the finding. It's only linked to Abu Huraira, who is not the Nabi. He's not the Nabi. He's not the Nabi. He says the Nabi said it, but his word is not strong enough. His word is not strong enough. Remember, I had a video last time when I said, for you to claim that somebody said something post-mortem, you need to bring your witnesses. Abu Huraira made this claim without any witnesses. He was a sole claimant of this. You cannot take that as the word of the Prophet. Even the prophets were given 2 or 3. فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. In Surah Yasin, Allah says, أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمُ اثْنَيْنِ. We sent 2 to them. فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. We sent them 2 and then we gave a 3rd to witness with them. Even the prophets were coming in 2s and 3s. But Abu Huraira, he can be a sole, he can be a sole representative of what the Prophet said after his death. Now, my brothers and sisters, that thing is declared unfounded. Let's look at the second one. Hadith on keeping dogs inside the home. Narration. Angels do not enter a house in which there is a dog or an image. Oh my goodness. I think all those Saudis that have the king's picture in their buildings, in their businesses, there's no angels going in there. And that comes from Abu Talha and Ibn Abbas. Now we must remember Ibn Abbas was a student of Abu Talha. He's a Ansari. He's of the Ansar. This guy learned from that guy. So these are not 2 different hadiths. Please. Don't think that because they confuse us by saying Sahih Bukhari cites it from Abu Talha and Sahih Muslim cites it from Ibn Abbas, that we have a duel, that we have 2 Sahabis narrate. They're both Sahabis, yes, they are both Sahabis. But they didn't both hear it. This Ibn Abbas heard it from Abu Talha because he was a child and he was a student of Abu Talha. So once again, what are we getting? What are we getting once again? We are getting the opinion of one person, Abu Talha. Is one man that is saying that a house where there's a picture or a dog, the angels will not enter. We cannot take his word. Like I say again, if the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ wanted this to be practiced after his life, he would have had it attested to by two witnesses. By two witnesses, if it was that important that the angels, imagine the angels don't come into your house. And what about Malik al-Maut? What about Malik al-Maut? What about all the other taqdeer, or inna anzalna fi laylatil qadr, when the angels come and they arrange the affairs, won't they come into your house? Is your house now separate from the taqdeer of all? This is absolute, makes no sense that you say the angels do not come into our house. It means this house does not have Allah's, is immune from Allah's power and Allah's control. No, Allah's control works through His angels. He uses the angels to intervene in our world. And the angels do not enter our house is a pure illogical claim. And it comes from one man, Abu Talha. Abu Talha is not separate from Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas is a child at the time. He's a student of Abu Talha. So it's a strong claim, yes. I can believe if it's a strong claim, yeah. So maybe Abu Talha said it. But maybe Abu Talha doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the authority. He doesn't have the... he's not authorized to speak and to create divine laws or to quote the Prophet. Remember, the Jews quoted Musa all the time. They quoted Moses all the time. But they were not authorized to quote Musa. They had the book, yes. That we are authorized. I can quote the book. So again, we have a problem here in that we are basing a religious position, Hadith on keeping dogs inside the home. We are basing it on one foolish statement that the angels will not come into your home. Imagine that. Malik al-Maut, Mikael, all these angels that are supposed to be there, that are forever executing the will of the Almighty, are now unable to enter. So your home is now immune from the power of Allah. It is a pure illogical statement. And it is sourced from only one man. And I'm not saying he was intentionally a liar. I'm saying he could make a mistake. Let's look at the third rule now on dogs. Hadith on washing vessels licked by a dog 7 times. First with dust. Here comes the hadith. Purify your vessel licked by a dog by washing it 7 times. The first of which should be with dirt. Sources, Sahih Muslim, again Abu Huraira, and slightly different wording, again Abu Huraira. So it is another Abu Huraira position. So again Abu Huraira, one person, one Sahabi. So what we are basing our religion on is not that 5 Sahabis said something, Abu Huraira, Imam Ali, Aisha, Umar. No. It's not 5 or 6 Sahabis. It's one Sahabi. We are creating a religion out of the view, the memory, the speech of one Sahabi. And of course, this is a very particular wording. Wash your vessels 7 times. The first of which should be with dirt. So this is, Abu Huraira is claiming the Prophet made this statement. Nobody else, no other Sahabi. You know, if you ask Muslims today, what is the story with if a dog licks a vessel? Every Muslim will tell you need to wash it 7 times. Why didn't more than Abu Huraira know that in the time after the Prophet? Are you with me? Why was it an unknown fact except for Abu Huraira. He's the only one who made this claim. And then from him, this claim became general. It became general to all the Muslims. So it is authentic again. It goes back to Abu Huraira. And then suddenly the Hanafi school only requires 3 times based on a weaker narration. Next one, number 4. Hadith on touching a dog nullifying wudu. Now, I didn't ask AI this, but AI threw this in as a bonus, I think. What does it say about hadith? Whoever touches a dog must wash his hands 7 times the first time with dirt. That is in Musnad Ahmad from Abdullah ibn Mughaffal and Sunan ibn Majah from a weaker chain. And what is the verdict on this weak? Scholars like Albani, Ibn Hajar classify it as weak due to an unreliable narrator, majhul. Scholarly view, majority touching a dog does not break wudu, but requires washing if the hand is wet. Minority of some Hanbalis touching a dog may require washing hands. I don't know if you're with me there, but this is a common belief by Muslims is, the dog touched me, I must go make wudu. I must go make wudu. There's not even a strong hadith to Abu Huraira. It doesn't even rise to the level of a strong hadith to Abu Huraira. So it falls even short of that. Not even Abu Huraira spoke about this nonsense. So this is completely baseless. And you out there, you know people practice this. You know they say, no, this is Islam. This is my religion. My people, my dear friends, you are inventing a religion out of thin air. You are creating, these people are creating a religion from Abu Huraira and out of thin air. So just a summary here. Dogs are impure, that's in Sahih Muslim. Touches, that's the Abu Huraira hadith. That is the Abu Talha hadith, and that is Abu Huraira hadith. And that is a complete weak hadith. So Abu Huraira, Talha, Abu Huraira, weak. Everything I asked him was either one man, one Sahabi, or weak. Hadith, the strongest narrations are right. I'm not going to go there still. So you have it now. I just asked AI the next question. What is the Hanafi position on allowing a dog in the house? Add the proof that Hanafi scholars base their position on. Because you guys there in Kashmir, you guys there in India, you guys there in, most of the world actually, where the populace is Indonesia, I think, you are all Hanafi. And the question is, in fact, here in my community, and there's also a huge bunch of Hanafis, although the majority is Shafi'i. I asked this because the majority of the Muslim world is Hanafi. And I needed to know, what does the Hanafi say? The Hanafis are not interested in Abu Huraira hadiths. They are interested in the Qur'an, mainly. And then they use a lot of analogy. They use a lot of sign of logical thinking along with the Qur'an. Very close to what the Ahlul Bayt, what the Ash'ari, the rationalists, what the Zaydis and so on use. Let's see what is the Hanafi position. The Hanafi position on keeping dogs in the house is more lenient compared to other Sunni schools. Here is a breakdown of their ruling with the proofs they rely upon. Hanafi's position: dogs are permissible but discouraged. Dogs do not invalidate prayer or make the home impure. Dogs do not invalidate prayer or make the home impure. Keeping dogs is only forbidden without valid need. And I asked for proof. I didn't get proof. The proof and this is not proof. This is not proof. This is not proof that the Prophet only allowed it. You will see just now. I will get to that. So keeping dogs is discouraged. Discouraged for mere pets, but not sinful unless it causes harm. Now, this is to me where AI is playing huge games. You know, AI is also in the business of trying to accurately present to you the status quo, the current understanding. It doesn't want to rock the boat. You know, that is AI for you. So AI is trying to present you what is the mainstream idea. But now look at this illogical statement here. Keeping dogs is only permissible without a valid need. Keeping dogs is only forbidden. Then it gives you permissible reasons, and then it gives you discouraged. So this is not forbidden. This is discouraged, but not sinful. You see, to use the word forbidden means haram. Are you with me? To use the word forbidden means keeping dogs is only haram. But then when it comes into the text of the point that it's making, it says it is makruh, but not haram. AI, you need to see it actually becomes duplicitous because it is trying to reflect the mainstream view that it is haram. That is the mainstream view. But then in the detail, it screws you. It lies to you. It creates the contradiction. Discouraged, but not sinful. And there it says it. There's no other points here. No explicit Quranic verse or authentic Hadith absolutely bans keeping dogs. So it again contradicts point 2 here. Keeping dogs is only forbidden without valid need. No explicit Quranic verse or authentic Hadith explicitly bans it. Can you see what I'm saying? I'm saying that AI is complicit here. It is duplicitous. It is trying to play along with a lie, with a big lie that Hadith, your religion is created in Hadith. It's playing along, and those Hadiths are one man who comes up with a story of from the Prophet. One man, Abu Hurairah, who says the Prophet said this, or Abu Talha says the Prophet said. One man, not like 5 Sahabis, not 100 Sahabis, because there were 100,000 Sahabis. Not 100 Sahabis all practice about not letting dogs in their homes. It was one Sahabi. Then point number 3, according to this Hanafi madhab, what is worth mentioning is the Hanafi madhab says saliva is impure, not the entire dog. If a dog licks a vessel, they're supposed to wash it 3 times. Right. So that is the view of the Hanafi madhab. Let's move along. I want you to see, we need to unearth it. We need to do the digging. You see, if we don't do the digging, our people will never wake up. Are we as Muslims, next question, are we as Muslims ordered to kill dogs as per the Hadith of the Prophet? And there's a lot of Hadith here that speak about it. And then keep the dogs. There's a lot of Hadith. Dogs be killed, you see? Sunan ibn Majah, can you see there? Dogs must be killed. So there's a lot of these hadiths, a lot of them, a huge lot of them. So I'm asking AI, are we as Muslims ordered to kill dogs? This hadith that say you must kill dogs. For heaven's sake, what an illogical command. It's in the books, it's in the hadith books. But I'll show you now how they try and rationalize this nonsense that dogs must be killed. And then obviously, I cannot go along with this now. You see, so it is kind of like bailing out. No, Muslims are not ordered to kill dogs as a general rule. As a general rule, why would you say that? As a general rule, so people are not allowed to kill other people as a general rule. Well, this is the type of logic you get when you're dealing with a false, with an invalid, with a invented contrived body of literature. When you're dealing with contrived, fake information, you have to play these word games. No, Muslims are not ordered to kill dogs as a general rule. While there are some hadiths that mention the killing of dogs in specific contexts, these were limited to certain circumstances and do not apply universally. The majority of Islamic scholars agree that unnecessary killing of dogs is prohibited, and the permission to kill them was either abrogated or restricted. So you see, now the hadith no longer stands on its own. Remember, they told you and me we need the hadith to explain the Qur'an. But suddenly now you need a third entity. You need the scholars now, because the hadith now is confusing us, because it says kill dogs, kill a black dog, kill dogs. And now the people are saying, oh, but this doesn't make sense. Now they say, no, but the scholars explain it. So you now have the Qur'an, you have the hadith that's confusing us, and now you have the scholars. So you have a third level. And I'm going to show you now, actually have a fourth level. You see, because you have the ancient scholars and you have the contemporary scholars. So they actually creating jobs for guys to tell you what your religion is. Let's look at this killing of dogs story, because this is also an interesting one. Key hadiths, initial permission to kill dogs. Some hadiths mention the Prophet ordering the killing of dogs. Kill every black dog, for it is a devil. That's in Sahih Muslim. That's the second highest book, and it is from Ibn Umar. This was likely due to rabies outbreaks. So here we now need quickly tafsir from the scholars from Medina at the time. Later, the Prophet prohibited the killing of dogs unless they played a clear danger. Now, whoever kills a dog unnecessarily will lose a reward every day. So it's contradictory. So I asked the next question. The next question I asked is, later on I asked this question, list a specific hadith that specifies that a rabid or dangerous dog should be killed. And this is how you see, how you interrogate the truthfulness of a position is you have to interrogate it. So I'm interrogating the hadith, now I'm asking, list a specific hadith that says, and then they come up with this hadith. Aisha, the Prophet said 5 animals are harmful and may be killed outside the sacred precincts of the crow. So this hadith, it's actually incorrect the way they've cited it here. If you go to the Bukhari book, to the big book, to Bukhari, it actually mentions that 5, I'm not going to take your time up with that, but this is wrong wording, and this is a problem. If there's wrong wording or different wording, the hadith in the listed hadith number 3314. Let's look at hadith 3314. Let me take the time to do it. 3314. Yeah, 3314. There we go. The Prophet said 5 kinds of animals are mischief doers and can be killed even in the haram. 5 kinds of animals are mischief doers and can be killed even in the haram. And what does 5 animals are harmful and may be killed outside of the haram? It's the complete opposite. It's a complete opposite. 3314, here it cites the 3314 hadith. It may be killed inside the haram, and this one says it may be killed outside. Here it says inside the haram, here it says outside the haram. The point they're trying to make here, that makes absolute sense, is that a dog that has rabies may be killed in the sacred sanctuary, because the haram is a holy place. So we observe the idea that there should be no killing in the precincts of the haram. So here it says that the killing of dogs is specifically related to rabid dogs in the haram, which means non-rabid dogs may be in the haram. So non-rabid dogs may be allowed in the haram. That's exactly what this is saying. Look at this. I'm not making this up. See if you can find this. Is my logic cock idea? The Prophet said 5 kinds of animals are mischief doers and can be killed even in the sanctuary. The Arabic is completely normal. قال عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم 5 فواسق يقتلن في الحرم. So it is, yes, it says يقتل في الحرم. يقتلن في الحرم. It says, yes, it says that a rabid dog may be killed in a haram, which means a non-rabid dog, a dog that is healthy, may not be killed in the haram, which means it allows actually the dogs in the haram. But that was not the point why I was looking at this. It basically lies when it says here, I hope you're still with me, killing dogs without valid reason is haram. Exception, rabbit, or you see, this is my point was going to be this. Due to a rabbit outbreak of aggressive dogs in Medina at the time. Now, the haram is not in Medina. The haram is not in Medina. So their explanation of kill every black dog being that there was a rabies outbreak in Medina is not borne out by the hadith. It's not borne out by the hadith. The only permissible killing is for dogs that are rabid, vicious, or pose direct threat. But that was a hadith specifically about the haram. So a rabid dog that is running out in the wild, because this hadith says, kill every black dog, for it is the devil. It is a devil. My friends, if you interrogate these hadiths, you will find out that they contradict each other. They don't make sense. They make sense only if you're supposed to believe it. You see, if you have to believe it, or you're going to go to hell. If Abu Huraira promised you hell because if you believe, you see, Abu Huraira was a liar. He was working for the Umayyads. He worked against Imam Ali, and we follow the line that comes from the Ahlul Bayt. That is from a more credible line. All these other lines are lines of people who were implicated with injustice, implicated with unjust slaughters, like Khalid ibn Walid. He slaughtered people unjustly, like the Umayyad kings, like the Umayyad kings who killed people unjustly, like Khuzar bin narrated, documented in history, killed people unjustly, instituted a hereditary kingdom, which was never the idea of Islam, to create hereditary kingdoms. So all these things are basically confusing because they go back to people who made up lies. Now comes the main treat. The main treat. You see, after you've now heard the hadith's view, and according to those people who argue for hadith, the hadith explains the Qur'an, right? Here the hadith actually causes more confusion, and later on you need the scholars to help you understand the hadith, and then you need new scholars today to explain the old scholars' words. Let's look at the Qur'an. Ya Rabb, astaghfirullah. We ask Allah forgiveness for those who have fallen into the swamp. The swamp. And let us look at the Qur'an, which is the liberator from the swamp. It will carry you out of the swamp. What does the Qur'an have to say about dogs? Simple question. I don't have to ask a complicated question to AI. The Qur'an, but AI is still beholden to hadith, right? AI does want to behold itself. In the Qur'an does not directly forbid dogs, nor declare them inherently impure. However, it mentions them in two contexts, both neutral or positive. So in other words, a dog is viewed as in a neutral light or in a positive light. The first way that the Quran views the dog is with the companions of the cave, a positive depiction. Surah Kahf 18:22 describes a dog accompanying pious youths who fled persecution, and the actual words of the Quran: "You would think them awake while they were asleep, and we turned them to the right and to the left, while the dog stretched his forelegs at the entrance." So the Quran in fact says there were 7, the dog was the 8th. So actually the dog is being counted in with them, being part of them in the cave, in the residence. If they didn't want a dog there, they wouldn't leave him on the entrance, on the threshold. They would say to him, stay 2 meters away. They were intermingling as really with the dog, if the dog was at the entrance. And we know dogs like to lie at the gate. Dogs like to lie at the gate. You can assume that if you let a dog into your yard or into your cave or something, he's going to lie at the entrance. That's a dog's spot, because he wants to see what's going on outside. Doesn't mean the dog was banished to the gate, to the entrance. It doesn't say any of that. The dog just took up that position. That's a position that the dog takes up at the cave. That's logical thinking. Right. The hunting dog, that's another place where the Quran lists the dog. Hunting dogs. Surah Ma'idah 5.4 allows eating game caught by trained hunting dogs. And the verse says, they ask you what is lawful. Say, lawful to you is all good things, and what you have taught hunting animals. And it was the dog at the time, It was the dog. There's no doubt about it. It was a dog. It was a falcon, a dog. Those were the animals that people used to catch in the manner directed by Allah. So eat of what they catch for you. Imagine that. You are not told to wash the animal 7 times. No. They come to you with a kill, a little buck, whatever, small animal. You are permitted. There's no 7 washes. You wash whatever you get. If you get a little rabbit, you clean it, you wash it like normal. And so the Quran has spoken, and the Muslims have ignored the speech of the Quran. Hadith-based rulings, now there's the clear difference. Even AI gives us this luxury. Status of dogs, neutral or positive. Then hadiths call them impure, najis. So according to Quran, neutral or positive. According to hadith, they're najis. Usage permits hunting dogs, allows guarding, whatever, farming discourages. Killing dogs, no mention. No mention of killing them in the Quran. They are, you see, now this is again AI lying. It says they can be killed unless they are rabid in the haram. And then AI has to do the favor here. The Quran focuses on broad principles, while hadiths address specific contexts. Example, rabies in 7th. No, that rabies just appears in one hadith. It doesn't appear in the hadith that speaks about kill a dog because they're a devil. That is not talking about rabies. Kill a black dog. That is not rabies. A black dog doesn't have rabies. So you are trying to do a cheap cover-up of these lies that have been invented. The Quran neither condemns nor elevates dog, but acknowledges their utility. I think I've asked one last question. What was the relationship? Okay, that was just there. I think I'm more or less done. You know, the other day, a very close family member of mine mentioned to me that she has a neighbor, an elderly woman or a single lady, who keeps a dog in the house because the dog is the best comfort for her at night. If there's a movement at the window, at the door, the dog will go and inspect. And this poor lady, it's a Muslim lady, has to deal with Muslim visitors judging the hell out of her for having a dog in her house. And so she has to, if there's a visitor, Muslim visitor, she has to like rush to hide this dog and make sure that nobody sees the dog there. I've even heard another sheikh telling me that, hey, you know what, those guys, what kind of Muslims are they? They have a dog in their house. My friends, we need to take this Abu Huraira Islam, this religion that is created by people like that, the cat man and other people who invented nonsense, like the angels can't come in a house where there's dogs. So the angels don't go to take the ruh of any Christian dog lover. Is that it? So because they don't come into a house where there's a picture. And I think half of the Muslims I know, 3/4 have pictures in their houses. So we need to dispense, take it all, put it into a bag, all this that you've been taught, put it in a bag around dogs and just toss it in the bin. Toss it in the bin. Dogs are our friends. They are creatures, living creatures. We have to uphold cleanliness as a rule. Always. I'm not saying allow a dog to defecate in your house or to urinate in your house or to become filthy and smelly and hairy and occupy these places where human beings, where we live and where we sit. But certainly if a dog is something that enriches your life, that you need, that is a form of guarding or a form of companionship for you, my dear fellow Qur'an upholders, if you're a Hadith upholder, if you want to believe in Abu Huraira's religion, go for it. Go for it. Don't let me stop you. I'm just here to tell you the truth and to show it to you on paper. My brothers and sisters, there's no intrinsic problem with dogs. If you don't like dogs, that's also your choice, you see. That's the beauty of it all. If you don't like dogs, if you don't like crayfish, if you don't like what is the other stuff? You don't like gold chains, because that's the other thing, gold rings and gold jewelry for men. Or if you don't like silk, don't wear it. But don't make as if those things are now religious injunctions upon all Muslims. That is where the problem lies. I hope I've illustrated a point for you, my brothers and sisters. The reason I said I want to make this video is to take you through the quagmire, the morass, the swamp of Hadith, and how the swamp is being turned into the source of your Islam. I hope it's been useful for you. Alhamdulillah.